Democrats' crazy COVID claims and hype about not leaving your house because you might die if you try to vote in person has been revealed for what it is, a hoax. It was all a scam. They actually thought they could convince you that everyone voted by mail this year, which would account for the record turnout of ballots cast. But it doesn't actually account for the record turnout. There is no factual basis to have a record turnout this year, except for Donald Trump. Trump supporters love him and are crazy enough to go to rallies in the cold, rain, and wind. They wait in line for hours to see him, simply to show their support and love for country. I believe Trump had record numbers. If you want me to believe Biden had record turnout because his voters hate Trump, I don't believe you. If people showed up simply to show that they hate Trump, all the riots, BLM, and Antifa gatherings would be as large as Trump rallies. They aren't. Well, unless you want to break into local stores and riot and loot, well, then you might get a good crowd. But just the protests and destruction, they're a fraction of the size of a Trump rally. Just this month, the New Yorker estimated an Antifa protest in Portland was 1,500 people, which means it was probably 1,000 people if you subtract their inflation. True, that's larger than anything Biden ever did, but it's tiny compared to Trump. Not a chance on your life did Biden set record numbers this year. Democrats cheated, likely in multiple races. So what do we do while we wait, knowing that Democrats planned a coup on the President of the United States? Wait for it. The day of reckoning is coming, and it will be glorious.
They're desperate. They're flailing. They are trying to cast doubt. And also, frankly, they're angry that black people, it's black people who delivered the fatal blow to Donald Trump.
Shut up, fat boy!
And it's killing him that Philadelphia came in hard against him. It destroys his ego that Detroit, black Detroit, came in hard against him. It's killing him that black Atlanta is going against him. It's just killing him that black Milwakee put that final nail in his coffin as well. That's what's killing Donald Trump and all of his MAGA supporters.
How would you like to suck my balls?
Stop. I don't even need to talk about the hundreds of sworn affidavits, the eyewitness to the fraud. I don't need to talk about the big tech censorship, the suppression polls, the media bias. Don't even need to talk about it. What I want to talk about is this. If this was a clean election, then Joe Biden ran the greatest campaign in presidential history because he shattered decades of records, over a century of records and trends in this election. And the media is not even curious about it. I mean, how do you have a down ballot wave on one hand and then the opposite wave on the top of the ticket? That hasn't happened for 120 years. You're saying the guy that got more votes than any other person in U.S. history doesn't have coattails? Or Donald Trump, the incumbent, actually got more votes in his re-election race and ended up losing? That hasn't happened in 150 years. That Joe Biden lost 17 out of the 18 bellwethers. That Joe Biden won less counties than Hillary, 200 less counties than Barack Obama, and still came out ahead. That Joe Biden lost Florida, lost Ohio, and still won the election. That hasn't happened since 1960, when JFK, some home cooking in Chicago. Or he underperformed Hillary in every major metropolitan area except Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Detroit, and Atlanta. Or the fact that Donald Trump won more of a percentage of minority voters for Republicans since 1960, won 95% of Republican voters, won the middle class, yet still lost. I mean, why isn't the media saying, Joe, what's your secret? How'd you do it? I mean, why isn't the media talking about this transformation of the Democratic Party? They're not talking about Biden voters. They're not talking about this. They're not crowning a strategist like a Rove or an Axelrod. They're not even asking Joe a question at all. They're only asking Trump a question, which is, when are you going to go? And that's because they're not saying that Biden won. They're saying Trump lost. And that should tell you everything.
Are you tired of driving all the way to a polling location to vote? Sick of always having to remember your ID to get a ballot? Worry no more, because the fix is in. Introducing Ballot Harvest. Get fresh ballots delivered right to your door. Make your voice heard as many times as you want. We've rigged up our system to churn out ballots for every living thing in the country. Millions a day. At Ballot Harvest, we'll automatically mail genuine voting ballots to every person in your house. And as part of our special limited time promotion, we'll also mail you ballots for people who used to live in your house. We're mailing so many ballots, we don't even know who they're going to. With Ballot Harvest, the votes just keep on coming, and your votes don't expire until up to 30 days after the election. When you're ready to return your ballots, we'll send someone right to your door to collect them, even the unused ballots. And don't worry about signing, we've got that covered too. Convenient and affordable, Ballot Harvest is a steal. Ballot Harvest, the fix is in.
It's just laughable. They can't handle losing well. Hillary Clinton showed far more dignity when she lost in 2016.
He knows he's an illegitimate president. Trump knows he's an illegitimate president who got illegitimate foreign help. You can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you. I do think that he knows he's an illegitimate president.
Some people are sore losers, and, you know, we just got to keep going.
He turned out to be a very effective reality TV star.
You know, Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances.
The first one is turnout. Turnout was exceedingly high and in the places that Joe Biden needed it. Again, that defies logic. In Wisconsin, for example, statewide turnout was over 90%. To put that in context, the country of Australia, voting is mandatory. You get fined if you don't vote, and their turnout is only 92%. Within Wisconsin, Milwakee was critical. Not surprisingly, that provided more than all, of the surplus for Biden in the state. He won Milwaukee by 145,000 votes. Turnout in Milwaukee was a stunning 84%. Pretty hard to believe if you put it in comparison with another Midwestern city, similar demographics, similar size, Cleveland. Turnout was only 51%. Are we really to believe that Milwaukee naturally had turnout that much higher than Cleveland? It really strains credibility. It demands further investigation. More coming up. It is really quite stunning how much Joe Biden outperformed Obama, but only in the places that mattered in battleground states. In other words, we did not see this on a national basis, this kind of outperformance that we saw in a place like Montgomery County, which is outside of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, a key, mostly swing county that leans slightly blue. In 2012, Obama got 233,000 votes in Montgomery County. But look at what happened this year for Biden. He got 313,000 votes in Montgomery County. He more than doubled Obama's margin of victory in Montgomery County. And by the way, population growth does not account for this. The county only added 22,000 total residents between 2012 and 2020.
Because the sad fact is he got a ton of votes, and there's a lot of people that still believe whatever they want to believe that comes out of his mouth. He has a cult personality following him, and why this is dangerous is because people believe it. I mean, there are people that are, and it goes beyond education. There are people that have some education and still want to make themselves believe that somehow they're being cheated. It's not happening that way, but whatever narrative he tells them, they believe. And as Dr. Carter said, it is extremely dangerous because they are prone, they already want to be angry. They already want to find a reason to blame someone, and he's using the common denominator of fear to drive them to be irrational, to make it feel like somebody's out to get them, that everybody's against them, big tech's against them, media is against them, black people are against them, Latino people are, everybody's against them. No, actually it's Donald Trump that's against you. He's just a great con man in the market.
Biden-only ballots, meaning people who voted for Joe Biden but then did not vote down ticket, even in places that had hotly contested races. For example, Georgia. But first, let's look nationally. 450,000 Biden-only tickets. That is ballots. That is very, very suspicious. Let's look at the state of Georgia. The difference, president versus Senate. There are two Senate races going on in Georgia, so a lot of interest there. Trump, this is the differential. Trump versus the combined Republican Senate vote. The differential was only 818 votes. Absolutely minimal considering he got 2.4 million votes in total in Georgia. In other words, almost everyone who voted for Trump also voted down ticket, voted for the senators. Biden, though, a 95,000 vote differential. There were almost 96,000 people in Georgia, allegedly, who voted Biden only and then did not vote for Senate. That seems far too wide to be believable, and again, the statistical case, the circumstantial case, demands more investigation. Let's consider my fourth point, which is the absence of actual vetting of mail-in vote. In states like Pennsylvania, where the governor changed the rules by himself, unilaterally, unconstitutionally, and illegally decided election procedures, knowing full well that there would be such a mass of mailed-in ballots that there would be no way that election officials could properly vet the legality and validity of these votes. So what happened? In Pennsylvania, the rejection rate of mailed-in ballots was only 0.03%. Okay, now that is 1/30th of the normal rate in the state of Pennsylvania. And mind you, for first-time voters, the typical failure rate is 3%. So 100 times higher than the rejection rate in Pennsylvania. New York, right next door, when they went to large-scale mail-in voting for their primary, they had a rejection rate of 21%. That is 700 times higher than what we saw in Pennsylvania. The point here is that very, very likely, many, perhaps thousands, tens of thousands of these ballots in Pennsylvania are not valid, are not legitimate, but they were not scrutinized. This is another statistical reason for us to seriously audit and review all of these results in these battleground states.
Look in my eyes, what do you see? The cult of personality.